we talked about it a bunch of times. Like, is that person worth it if you guys don't win? What are you paying for then? You're just paying for a great player. It's not actually giving you anything that you're really trying to do. So
and that's why, like a bunch of years back, I was like, hey, if the Mets really wanted to make a move at something, right? You send Dom Smith, you send Conforto, you send Steven Matz, you send something else, and everybody was like, oh, you're crazy. If I'm building
for Mike Trout, you're saying?
For Mike Trout,
yeah, I know.
And you've heard me say
Yes,
this before, and people are like, you're absolutely nuts, you're out of your minds. But like, if I'm right now the Angels, I could win if I traded Mike Trout.
You could, absolutely.
I would start winning almost overnight if I was willing to move Trout. Because I already have Rendon.
Yep.
I already have Shohei. I already have this lineup that can mash like the baseball.
Yep.
I could get back 2 high-end starters and future studs for Trout's name right now. And if I traded him to, let's use it as the perfect example. If I went to the Yankees today, right, I could get their best young starting pitcher. I could get Gleyber Torres. I could then get anything else I want out of their whole minor league system. Free up $40 million a year. All that contract, all that money, all that stuff. Bring those players over. My lineup does not get much worse. My starting pitching gets way better. I will win more games by trading Trout.
Yep.
And that's what I think is the craziest about these lists is like, it looks like baseball doesn't know who's worth money. Mm-hmm. And maybe that goes back to why teams like the Marlins are able to dump everyone, become good overnight. It's like they're just using guys. This just doesn't make sense.
Yep, I think that's exactly how the Indians looked at Lindor's trade.
Yes,
like it's at some point having one guy that's great and everyone else super average is not valuable.
But now they bring in his replacement, potential other guys replace all this, free up the money, give opportunity for young pitchers to move in because Carrasco's gone, do all this stuff. Yeah, like the Indians reset, reloaded, and I don't think they're much worse.
Yep.
Right? Are they worse at a single position? Yes. But when you're telling me that there's so many guys who matter for winning with baseball, and a guy who bats is only going to come up and get what amounts to being 12% of the at-bats, 13% of the at-bats, like how much does your percentage of good really affect the overall score? And when you have a team like the Mets who is a player away, right? Like, hey, pitching staff ready, this ready, bullpen ready, give us a superstar. You can flip a switch and the team is now, I expect the team to win 100 games. If they don't win 100 games, I think the Mets underperformed.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't see a reason. If they had the DH, they'd be even better. Who could you trade right now and just instantaneously get better as an organization? I'd trade Trout in a heartbeat. And I could get a trade like that because no one values a guy like Conforto enough. Because his name is Conforto and not Harper. But like if it was Harper, you'd be like, oh, okay, we could do that trade. That's enough of an even swap. But it's like, just look at the numbers. Like all we're doing is punching math equations into the, and I know that baseball diehards will hate this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Across 162 games, guys, punch in the. That's what the Yankees do. That's why the Yankees have not been able to win, is because the Yankees are so deep on their analytics, and the same team I would put in the same similar situation is the Braves. They've done such a good job of building regular season rosters that the numbers play out well every year, and it gives them the chance. But then those same numbers are the reason why they aren't special and they can't take the next step.
You need outliers.
You need an outlier.
Yeah.
And those outliers are the guys that you think like a Lindor, right? People are assuming that Trout's an outlier.
Yep.
You assume he would level you up.
But he's not getting you there, so you don't actually know.
So nobody knows. So what are we paying for?
Yep. If I were them and I was going to trade Trout, I would go after a young starter.
Yep.
To add to that rotation.
Yep.
Go for a decent center fielder to fill your spot. And then a couple other young guys, like you said, to kind of bolster the future.
Yeah.
That are up there, your top 10 prospect in your organization. And I think that's a pretty decent trade, especially if you get a guy like I don't know, like a Giolito or a Bieber. That's like this young guy who's going to have this future that's going to help carry your team. That's a solid. You're as much as you hate to say like, oh, he's the best player in the game, whatever. You're getting a lot of value. That's going to help your team win games.
And that's my thing. The best player in the game inherently is in that sport not worth it.
Yeah, exactly. In that sport, for sure.
You know, in basketball, you can't pay a guy enough who's the like. I couldn't pay LeBron James enough money. Like, I could not pay him enough money because he has proven that it does not matter what he does. He will win.
Yep.
He knows the science of winning basketball better than anybody who's ever played the game, because in an analytic, scout the world, the best players from Spain, Argentina, anywhere, like if you're the best, you play in the NBA. You can't say that about the 70s teams that were playing.
Yep.
You can't say that about the really early Celtics and a guy like Wilt Chamberlain who was just dunking on dudes who were way smaller than him. Like, the world has been scoured for the best players. We have the best analytics. We have the best everything. So right now should be difficult to win for a single guy. Not for a single organization, because if you're good at finding talent, developing talent, you can win consistently. You can be the best.
Right,
still.
absolutely.
But he's done it no matter where the fuck he goes.
Yep.
So he's the best winner. No one else in the NBA can win like him.
Yep.
Steph Curry. Steph, you guys still have Wiggins, Kelly Oubre. You have Draymond Green. You have I think Weissman, who was just the second overall pick. So your team theoretically is more stacked than anything LeBron has ever had, and you can't win. LeBron did.
Yep.
He did it with Kevin Love. Kyrie was hurt. The dude both of those guys were out, and they were winning games against a roster that was way better than theirs.
Yep.
Right? Dellavedova was his best player besides him. Like, that shows you how he still was there winning games.
Yes.
Trout cannot do that.
Yep.
A starting pitcher can.
Yes, and I think too, and you're the way you're describing how LeBron plays, right? Like, it's his effect on each and every game, right? And he has a hand in almost every play. And like, there could be a day where Mike Trout goes 0 for 4, gets one fly ball. What was his value there?
Impact?
What was his impact? Now, when we look on the flip side of that team, a guy like Shohei Ohtani can have an impact every game, and also go out there every 5 days, every 4 days if he wants to, and get you 7 innings, 1 run. So now you're talking about a lot of value, which is why we're talking about could he have the best season ever?
Yes.
Because of his impact, it's just a different level because of what else he can do there.
For sure. I guess my roundabout point is, because baseball relies so much on 5 starting pitchers, right? 8 to 9 guys who are playing consistently, another 3 guys who are playing regularly, if not every day.
Yeah.
And then you have relievers at mass who are playing. You have literally, of the 25 guys, you have 23 that really matter to success on a weekly basis. So when you have 23 guys who matter, one guy doesn't actually matter that much. But baseball pays guys like they matter the same way a basketball player matters. And it's not close. You have 8-man rotations in basketball, but you play both sides, offense, defense.
Yep.
And one guy, if he's worlds better than everybody else, can literally just go out and score on every possession. And if the other team misses even a little bit, the game is over.
Yep.
That one person, Mike Trout, can't go out and take the at-bat and just decide, I'm going to hit for every person in the lineup. That's not how it works.
Yep.
So he's just not as valuable as what you could get for him. I would rather get 4 players than have Mike Trout. I'd rather have... Give me a theoretical package. Like, let's think, what's a theoretical package for Trout that you could think about inside the game? Like, first off, who's an organization that has the star power money to pull the trigger on that?
To hold on to Trout?
Right.
Goodness. You'd have to go to, like, big market.
So I'm saying, if we say we're going to go to a big market, let's say like the Chicago White Sox.
Okay.
Right? Are they ready to make their play to overtake the Cubs? Right?
Well, here's the thing. So let's say we'll use the White Sox. If you put Trout there.
Yes.
what they're going to ask for effectively makes the White Sox the Angels.
Yes, so you're right.
So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. So you'd have to go to a team with a surplus of arms and a surplus of talent. So you're looking at the top 5 teams in the league, probably. You'd have to go to, I don't know, the Dodgers, right?
See, so I thought of the Dodgers. The Dodgers was my first thing because they just seem like they're reckless and bold.
Yes.
And they're out here and they're like,
because they could send Bellinger and Bueller and Gavin Lux, and now you have a good second baseman, an outfielder to replace him, and a pitcher that adds to the rotation. But I think the Dodgers recognize also that they don't need Trout. It doesn't really make their team better. If anything, it makes them worse, kind of.
Yeah.
So, who else? You know what I hate, but I also would love to see if and they just don't have the money for it, would be like the Rays. The Rays have so many guys.
So the Rays was me. I was gonna you trade Glasnow.
Yeah.
Right, and then
but I don't think they can afford him. It's not in their style of baseball.
Well, and I agree. Yes, I agree there. I think we both have the same kind of thought process on what it is. So again, I don't want to use the Mets or the Yankees as the thing because I'm trying to separate it.
Mm-hmm.
So what about a team like Boston, right?
I was gonna say, I don't know if they haven't actually. That's not true. They could do it. I think they would have had a better shot at it if they had kept Benintendi.
Okay.
Because maybe they go like Benintendi. They have some young guys like Chavis, Dalbec. Like maybe it would probably more of a young guys thing because their pitching staff's kind of
Yeah.
So they'd probably just go more prospects at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But Trout would be obviously a step up from Bradley. Like he kind of replaces Mookie. Like that.
Well,
kind
so
of
that's
thing.
the thing is that they needed to get out from underneath a lot of financial things at one point
Right.
in time.
So
now they're more of, hey, I can bring the money back in, right? I can start to think, okay, I have more money that I can come in with, and I can do something, and maybe I shoot a shot, right? Maybe I send a bunch of prospects and I do stuff. Would that team be better? But you're right. Like the real move is if you're going to get a superstar, you have to be a team that's about to pop. So the question is, who's about to pop, right? Who's about to be somebody who can do it? It really does come down to the Mets already made their move, right?
Yep.
The Mets traded what amounted. So look what Lindor went for. He went for nothing.
yeah.
Lindor was rated in this list as a top 10 player in the game, and he went for relatively a bag of sand.
Yep.
So the fact that he went for a bag of sand is kind of the point. I agree the Indians got better, right? Long term.
Yep.
If Jimenez is a good player, if Rosario can find a long-time position, if some of the prospects that they got otherwise can do some things, they got better. But the Mets got way better by just adding in that their weakness is now just somewhere else.
Yep.
Right? They immediately
Shortstop's no longer a weakness. Their pitching rotation got a great piece that will be on the team at some point to play. That's great moves. I think if the Angels wanted to move him, because his contract is a huge deal of what you're taking on. If they had wanted to move him, I think it would have been as his last contract was ending. That was your prime time. Because at that point, you can send him somewhere else. Maybe he signs a shorter deal, same yearly worth, but you can move him around a little bit more. He can go different places, do whatever. But now you're looking at 14 years, 13 years, 300-something million, 400 million, whatever it was. That's a tough thing to be like, I'm going to take this
Alex
on.
Rodriguez moved, and he went to the Yankees, and the Yankees didn't have to give up a lot.
I don't know how many teams are really out there that are in the right position to do that.
I will use the Mets as the perfect example, and I'll make my case.
Okay.
You trade, right, Brandon Nimmo, right? You trade Dom Smith. Bypass that. Because we'll use big names.
Mm-hmm.
You trade Pete Alonso. You trade Brandon Nimmo. You trade Peterson, the pitcher. And you trade whoever you guys think is the top prospect in our organization.
They're going to want our catcher guy, probably. Alvarez.
Fine.
Yes.
Done. The Mets didn't give up anything that hurt them. Right?
Yep.
Dom Smith goes to first base. Center field is covered by Trout.
Pilar or somebody goes into left.
And you have Conforto and Trout in the outfield. You have Dom Smith playing every day. Your team is better, right? Your outfield is better. But the Angels are better. And that's the thing, is when a team is lacking depth, if they're too top-heavy, they need to be less top-heavy to win. And baseball just never seems to get that, right?
Yep.
And the Mets showed you can be top-heavy with pitching and you can get to a World Series. Because they didn't deserve at the time to be in the World Series in 2015.
If you can hold them down, you can
they
score a
got
couple
there
runs.
You could. The Dodgers could have had a longer run of success. They could have been the team for a lot longer. That 2015 Mets team kept them from being able to be that.
Yep.
Because they came out and they're like, our pitching staff is just so much better than everybody else's.
Yep.
And that's coming again by the end of this year.
Yeah.
The Mets are still loaded. Most of the guys who were there then in some capacity are here now. DeGrom is that lead dog. Right, Carrasco is going to be a good guy when his hamstring's feeling better. Syndergaard's going to be back at the end of the year. Stroman is at least some semblance of a top 100 player when he's on his stuff. The Mets will be it. The Mets will be there, and I think that's the kind of trade baseball needs. Is we haven't had a situation like outside of Lindor, but everybody's like, oh, well, who does he sign with? What if he doesn't re-sign with the Mets? But a guy like Trout needs to move. If they don't win this year, you got to move Trout.
Listen, I don't disagree. It's just going to be a tall order for them, I think.
Guys, with that, we're going to throw it to you guys. Do you think if the Angels don't win this year, do you think that they have to trade Mike Trout to someone else and restack their roster, reorganize? We appreciate you guys coming out today, listening. Remember, if you made it this far, like, subscribe, and let us know what you guys think, and we'll talk to you next time.
Later.
Baseball lifestyle, it's my lifestyle.